Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. I've been promising this for a while now, but today I'm going to do it. Today I'm going to give you a midsummer update on the bur oaks. We'll start at the far end there, and we'll go through all 12 of the original trees, plus the ones along the road there. We have some in this field and some in the woods and other places, but we'll just concentrate on these. The video is going to be long enough as it is. Okay, here's tree number 1, and we're not going to get any measurements or anything like that. We'll do that at the end of the year. We're just going to show how they look when they're growing in the middle of the summer. The trees are a little bit stressed this summer because of the drought. Got some yellow leaves and stuff, but you could see from right here to right here, it's had about a foot of growth in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different places on this one branch alone. And that happened in spring. Here we only have 4 inches. And again, that mostly happened in spring when there was plenty of water. And these will do another growth spurt in a month or so when the fall rains start hitting. I don't think tree 1 here grew much in height, but we'll find that out at the end of the year. But look at that trunk. That's getting to be one heck of a trunk. All right, let's move it along. Number 2. Again, we got a foot of growth all over the place on the sides, and looks like maybe 1.5 feet on that one, but this one right here, that's about 2 feet. That's about 2 feet as well. So we got a lot of growth on this one, and mostly it's filling in and starting to get wider. But again, 18 inches in height is pretty good. We'll see what it turns out to be at the end of the year. And as far as insect damage goes, the insects mostly hit the trees early in the year, so the later flush of growth is usually pretty much insect damage free. This one has less drought stress, and the leaves look a lot better than the first one. That one's kind of sickly looking, but it'll do just fine. This is the one. This is the old top of the tree right here. I cut the top off because the top hung over and had some really sick leaves on it, and now it's done that and then gone upwards again. That is going to be a cool looking tree. As far as growth from this year goes, this is really woody growth. Look at this. Nice and corky. I'm going to say that's a good 18 inches on the top. Some of these have the smooth growth right away, and some have this real corky growth right away. And from here all the way up to the top, that's all new growth. So it has like 4 new growths at the top, and they're all pushing 2 feet. Yeah, this is going to turn out to be an interesting tree, and I had my doubts as to whether it was even going to survive. Oh, there's some acorns. There's a tree at the end that is just loaded with acorns. These trees are, I'm going to say that if they were 3 years old when I got them, they've been in the ground here for 5 years, so they're 8 years old, and they have acorns. I thought there was 2 trees that had acorns on it, but I couldn't see them. I'm doing another video on the acorns, and you'll probably see that before you see this video. I'm not sure, but I'll be doing a separate video on the acorns. Suffice it to say that acorns on an 8-year-old tree are pretty cool. Okay, it's hard to tell. I don't think this is it. There's one that I cut off at ground level right before winter, and I had to put a little round cage over it, but I think that's on the other side of this tree. It's kind of funny that you can't see all the trees through the trees. Yeah, there's nowhere near as much growth on this one, but it's still a nice looking tree. Yeah, we got, oh, probably 15 inches on that. This is real corky as well. Look at that corky bark. This corky bark like this helps the tree survive forest fires, well, and grass fires, which is why when you have a big fire go through, this is probably going to be the only thing standing. Now, what tree was that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're at number 5. Yeah, this is probably the widest of all of them, except for the first one. I guess the first one is kind of an exceptional tree as far as size goes. But look at the growth on that again. We're at about 18 inches. This is easily 2 feet right here. So this one is filling outwards a lot. Yeah, this is all new growth here. Got some kind of disease on it, or bug. You hate to see that, but it happens. And like I said, come fall, it's going to have a whole bunch of new leaves, and they're going to look really nice. They're going to look more like these here. I'll have to look that bug up. As far as height goes, looks like the least growth is growing in the height. Oh, I don't know, that's probably a little more than a foot in height. And we have a little more than a foot here. It appears to be growing better on the sunward side. Got a fairly big trunk on it. All right, this little guy, this is the one that was cut off at ground level. Got some nice little corkiness on there. Not a huge amount. And looks like it shot up nearly 2 feet already this year on the top. Nowhere near as much on the sides. Yeah, it looks like this is going to be a real nice tree when it comes into its own. It's just started growing all this stuff. Yeah, this is like within the last couple weeks right here. It's all green still. What I did was came through with the hose, and I put the hose on each one of the trees, like on the uphill side, and had it a fair amount of water coming out. It was quite a bit of water. And I left it on each tree for at least an hour because of the drought. So I don't know how many gallons I gave them, but it gave them a lot of water. A lot of new growth on this. This is all from this year, but there's a lot from just the last couple weeks since I watered. And again, this is not a normal year. It's been extra hot and droughty, so the trees are all a little bit stressed. But yeah, this one has all kinds of growth as well. And what does that trunk look like? Still kind of small. The tree itself isn't all that big either. Not much growth at the top. Yeah, this one's spending its time filling in sideways, which is just fine. Number 8. This tree has always done pretty good. We used to have the gate right here, the horse fence. And up at the top, we have a good 2 feet of very recent growth. It looks like it's grown, looks like it's grown 3 feet this year. It's going to be real interesting to get a height on this. This may be the tallest tree. Those two right there were always the tallest, but this one might be a contender this year. We're going to have a stick with us, hold the stick up and then measure from the stick to the ground to get a measurement on these. Yeah, beautiful tree. Not a huge amount of growth on the side branches. That's like 6 inches, 8 or 10. Got about a foot right there, plus some brand new growth. Usually it'll do this stuff in the fall, but some of them are starting because I watered. Yeah, and this has a fork, which I do not like. I may actually take that fork out of there. Forked trees like that, where they go both straight up, they almost always split at some point, and that opens up an area where disease can get in. Yeah, it's usually much better if you just get rid of one of those. I am going to do that in the fall. I'm going to take this one right here, take it out of there, and within a year it'll start growing branches on that side and fill in that opening, and the tree's going to be much healthier for that. Now we have a tree on either side of the road, and I believe this one is number 9. This one has always grown funny. It's always been real empty in the middle and had these long straggly branches. Got quite a bit of growth this year. I've been expecting it to throw some branches out from somewhere on the stem to try to fill in some of these openings, or at least send branches into the open areas, which it's doing right here, but it's not doing it many other places. I guess it's got a few. They need to get bigger though. Yeah, it had like no leaves on it. You'll have to go back and look at some of the early videos, but it had no leaves on it, and then it had leaves right at the top only, and then all of a sudden it shot way up, and those leaves on the top were way at the top. Or is that, no, they were right here. This was the top of it, and then it shot up again. Yeah, just an odd tree, but that's kind of the charm of bur oaks to begin with. They can be pretty gnarly. 10, 11, and 12. This one has always done nice, and this year this has been getting watered along with the buffalo grass that I planted, so it should have a bit less of a shock from the drought. These are really drought resistant to begin with because they have massive tap roots. The tap roots on these should be about 14 or 15 feet deep right now, or if they hit a rock, they'll go around it. So they should have plenty of moisture, but the drought still affects every plant. Yeah, we got 2 feet right there, easy. And at the top, looks like another 2 feet. Oh, actually more than 2 feet. Yeah, again, this will be interesting in the fall to get a height on this. I would guess that that's at least 15 feet tall. Also, this tree had a little bit of damage from the fire. I burnt this area late, and you could see the brown leaves there, but it didn't do any lasting damage. These are basically fireproof. Look at that branch right there. That's, I don't know, 18 inches long. This one right here, that's all brand new growth. All this green stuff like that is all brand new growth. You can see like on here, this doesn't have any new growth like that. Asian beetles. We don't have anywhere near as many of those around now that we got rid of the vineyard. I had to have some of these low-lying branches. I had to lift them up on stakes while I sprayed this area. Okay, now for number 11. Number 11 hasn't really grown much at all. We got, 5 inches of growth here, and that was from spring. No new growth on there. Maybe a foot here. But number 11 has acorns. There's one there. They're hard to see from right in this area. I didn't see them originally until I came around the tree to the south side, and then you could see them all over the place. See them up there? Right there. Again, I'm doing a video expressly on the acorns. There's some big ones up there. Those are way bigger than the last time I saw them. But this tree really hasn't grown much. And maybe that's because of the acorns. Yeah, we got 5-6 inches. And you could see by the brownness that was from early spring. Got about a foot here. 10 inches there. Acorns out at the end. So it has acorns on, I don't know, it's mostly on that side of the tree, and they're mostly towards the sun, mostly on the south side. If you go on the north side of the tree, it's hard to see them unless you're really looking. You can kind of see this cluster right here, but just walking by and driving by right here, I didn't see them for quite some time. These white oak acorns, they fall off after 3 months, so it'll be interesting to watch and see how big they get. Yeah, and this tree, this is number 12. I believe this was the biggest for a good amount of time, and now it's kind of tied between 11 and 12. They kind of go back and forth. I'll have to look back in the notes. One of them is obviously bigger, and it might be 12 still. But this one does not have acorns, so only 2 of the trees have acorns. And we got, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches of growth, 10 inches here. Not a whole lot at the top. I don't know exactly what these are doing, if they're growing roots or growing bigger stems, or if they're going to really shoot up at the end of the year. But these 2 did not grow as well so far this year. Look at that corky bark. That is so cool looking. Number 11 over there is actually the corkiest tree out of all of them. Yeah, got some spotted color on here. Hopefully we don't have a disease working on this that's stunting the growth this year. That's always a possibility. Okay, we have, it's either 5 or 6 along the road that I'll show you, and then we'll wrap this video up. But before that, I'm going to show you the one that's right behind me that got ravaged by the rabbits over the winter. And there it is. This is how much it grew from the ground all the way up to here. That's how much it grew in the spring, and then it stopped, and now it's grown this part right here. I watered this as well. So this second flush is a little bit over 2 feet. Got a bit of insect damage, but that's okay. Nice corky bark. And we have, looks like a secondary tree coming up there. You'll have to go watch that video. I'll link it below. But it was completely girdled, and then 4 or 5 little sprouts came out of the stump. So I cut the original tree off and cut all of the little sprouts except for one. And this is what we got. That is a little bit taller than me. I'm 6'4", so I would say this is about 6'5" right now, and that's going to have a flush of growth at the end of the year. So this might get 7 feet, a little over 7 feet, all in 1 year. This tree right here did almost nothing for a couple years, and I was actually going to take it out at the beginning of last year, and then it started showing some signs of life, so I let it go, and this is what we got so far. And these other ones, I'll tell you about those when we get to them, but these trees along here just had tremendous growth in 1 year. That was last year. So I'm hoping this one does the same. Looks like it got bit off up here, which is unfortunate, but it'll make a comeback. And again, you'd have to look back at the videos, but these were all like 2 feet tall or so and kind of sickly looking, and then they shot up like 4 feet in 1 year. Now, I don't know, that one, that's probably about 15 feet tall as well. Maybe even more. We'll have to look back on the records and see how tall this was in the fall. Little leaves, and they don't have that real distinctive bur oak look to them. Yeah, if you were to show me this, I wouldn't even say it was a bur oak. And who knows, maybe it's not. Maybe they sent us the wrong tree. It doesn't have, oh yeah, it does have corky bark. Yeah. They all look a little different. Yeah, some of them have most of them have the real narrow sinus down towards the bottom that almost splits the leaf in half. See if any of these have that. Oh, that was chewed off. Again, this one shot up like that as well, but obviously not quite as much. They're getting bit up right now. Yeah, not a huge amount of growth this year. These got watered as well, and that may be where this new growth came from, but I'm sure they grew in the spring as well. Yeah, we got 6-8 inches, 5 inches. Nothing spectacular. Oh my goodness. I did not see that. I go right by this on the road every day. I walk through here. These acorns look bigger than the other ones. The bur oak acorns are the biggest acorns out of all of the oak trees, and they'll get like the size of the palm of a little kid's hand. They're really huge though. That's an actual ladybug. We get Asian beetles around here, and they're really nasty. Wow, that is cool. And this tree would be When we first got these, they were a year old, and we've had them for 3 years. So these are about 4 years old, and we got acorns on one of them. So we have 3 trees with acorns on them. That's insane. I don't think they're going to be viable, and as soon as the squirrels find out they're here, they're probably going to come and steal all of them, because the white oak has real nice sweet acorns and the red oaks are kind of bitter. So these are a treat for the wildlife. Well, the deer will probably come over here and get those as well. The deer come out of the woods right there and then walk right along here and go behind the shop. Yeah, this one looks really dark. Oh, I forgot to mention that one like split into 3 up at the top, and it looks like it's going to stay that way. It looks like it's going to spread out into 3 tops. Huh. Yeah, this one has some really putrid looking new growth. I mean, that stuff is terrible. Pretty much all of it. This one, like all the other ones along here, did that shooting up real fast. And this one just has these tiny little branches coming off of the main stem until you get back down here. But this was all the original growth, and then it shot this up. Interesting. Yeah, it does not look real healthy, and it's trying to grow a new tree out of the ground. It did that earlier. You could see the stumps, I think. It's done that several times. I got rid of one earlier this year, but I don't know. If this tree's going to continue to grow like this, at some point I may have to let one of these little sprouts grow, and maybe it'll do like that one over there and just shoot up way up to here in 1 year. And then finally, this one was planted 2 years ago. This was planted at the same time as that rabbit ravaged one, and it got so far this year and then just dried up. And I hate to do anything with it because it might not be dead. Next year a new tree might come up out of the ground, so I'm just going to let this one alone. I'll probably leave it for a year. If there's no sign of life next year, I'll get rid of it and plant a new one here. Kind of a shame. So there you have it. Yeah, a lot of people have been asking for a look at the trees while they have leaves on and are growing, and I always seem to forget it. I don't think I've done it in a couple years, so there you have it. 2023 look at the trees in midsummer. It is August 2nd today. So, unless something odd happens, there'll be that video on the acorns. I actually didn't produce that yet, so I'm going to have to redo it and include that tree over there as well. But that'll probably come out before this one, I'm sure. But the next video, other than the acorn videos, will likely be the fall assessment, where I give you the new heights and the new diameters of the trunk, how much they grew over the last year. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comment section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.